When you were at that nomination hearing, your first appearance before the Senate, you said, to fulfill our responsibility to our children, to protect and defend our nation while honoring our values, we have to establish priorities. You've been in now for over 3 years. What do you see as the priorities? And as Brittany Byer, who's one of my students, asked, how would you like historians to look back in 50 years and say, what were the priority challenges?
Well, I must say that I believe in priorities and trying to set them and follow them. What we found was that we needed a broader list of priorities than perhaps made sense in other times, because given the economic crisis, and I go back to that because it overhung everything we did. We could not really go forth and argue for American positions and American values if people thought that we were not going to remain a strong economy that could support that leadership. So when we look back, I think reestablishing American leadership, having it once again be respected, appreciated, wanted, and having a list of priorities on our agenda that were both specific, like what we're going to do in dealing with some of the crisis areas from Iran to North Korea, and more general about the overarching global problems like global climate change or nuclear proliferation and other weapons of mass destruction. We didn't really have the luxury of being able to put some of those priorities to one side. We had to try to deal simultaneously with a number of pressing issues, some very specific, some more general. We often talk in the State Department about how we're constantly having to juggle the urgent crisis, the immediate threat, and the long-term challenge all at the same time, because you can pick up a newspaper any day, you can see what's in the headlines, but then you can go through the paper and find things that aren't yet in the headlines that you know will be unless action is taken to prevent. And then you can also discern the trend lines, not the headlines, but the trend lines of both threats and opportunities that you have to keep an eye on. So we tried to create a sensible approach toward dealing with all of those in a prioritizing way, but it was sometimes a